was dumbfounded. He'd been in law enforcement for a long time. Years as a special agent in the U.S. Army and the Department of Agriculture. He'd worked undercover across the United States and done anti-corruption work on the Mexican border. He had a good chunk of experience.
Squad mate back on station.
Coming
Good
out
work.
of his own accord and getting arrested without incident, he'd never seen anything like it. Then he realized that short, bald guy he'd been talking to, that guy was a hostage negotiator. And the hostage negotiator convinced the suspect to do something no one thought possible. Turn himself over to the authorities in broad daylight without a fight. Shit. Grab the
Supply station's quick. If you reach it in time,
Second fire!
Since then, Greg has spent more than 20 years as a hostage negotiator.
Loading new man!
FBI's legendary behavioral science unit.
Reinforcing armor.
From talking down petty robbers to attacking serial killers, he's changed.
good kill. Marking the rest of that squad on your attack map. Get hunted.
Reinforcing armor.
Names where terrorists took hostage and then killed 11 Israeli Olympians. Previously, the focus had often been on force, telling people, come out, put your hands up, we'll shoot.
That quick usually I can drop loadout on my foot. This team can't drop one loadout by itself.
Enemy destroyed. Use your attack map to hunt down the rest of us.
So practitioners turn to the psychology literature.
Your squad's in the safe zone.
Science.
Changing man.
Gas is closing in. Your squad mate went AWOL. Resurgence timer reduced.
Negotiators
On my last man.
last
mag.
Whether trying to
Reinforcing
convince
armor.
international terrorists to let hostages go, or to change someone's mind about
Final mag.
even when talking to someone who just killed his who's locked himself up in a bank with hostages, who knows he's talking to a police officer, who knows the consequences and knows his life is going to change. 9 out of 10 times,
There goes their armor.
Mark remain in
Moving
operation
max.
from that squad. Hunt them down.
the power of inertia. This is something they want to change. Salespeople want to change their customers' minds, and marketers want to change purchase decisions. Employees want to change their boss's perspective, and leaders want
Friendly
to
loadout
change
drops on the way.
I'm hit.
parents want to change
Buy
their children's
station
behavior.
vulnerability. Close.
Startups want to change their behavior. Non-profits want to change their behavior.
There goes their armor.
Target down. Marking the rest of us.
Even after all that work,
Reinforcing armor.
nothing moves. Things change.
New intel jumping. Classified weapons will be airdropped into your AO
The tail of
shortly.
the tortoise and the hare, change is a three-toed sloth on his lunch break.
Enemy soldier incoming.
He noted that an object in motion tends to stay in motion, while an object at rest tends
Point
to
turn
stay
in
at
line.
rest.
Loading new
Sir
man.
Isaac focused on physical objects, beds, pendulums, the social world. Just like moods and trends, people and organizations.
Be advised. Classified weapon has been deployed. It will give you an advantage. Kill confirmed.
There goes their armor.
Mark remain in operation from that squad. Hunt them down.
Projects deserve attention. Companies take last year's budget and
Kill confirmed. We've located the rest of them.
investors tend to look at how they've been investing and stay
An enemy has retrieved a classified weapon. Hunt them down and take it for yourself.
vacation spot every year, and why organizations are wary of starting new initiatives, but loath to kill off old ones. When trying to change
They're on me.
inertia, send them a deck of facts and reasons. Boss not listening to the idea, give them more examples or a deeper explanation.
Check your damn fire, fucker.
Pushing harder.
All squad mates are in the safe
Reinforcing
zone.
armor.
You're losing ground. Moving. Enemies are dropping
Loading
into
new
the
man.
area. Watch the skies.
Implicitly, this approach
Enemy
assumes
destroyed.
that people
Use your attack map to hunt down the rest
push
of
them
them.
in a direction stops returning our calls.
Your squad mate is redeployed. Well done.
Rather than
There goes their armor.
Target
Swapping
down.
mag.
Marking the rest of them.
so if pushing people doesn't
Reinforcing
work,
armor.
what does? A better way to change minds.
Good kill. Marking the rest of that squad on
To
your
answer
tag
this
map.
question,
Get
it helps
hunting.
to look to a completely different
Get up.
domain.
No sick bay here.
Chemistry. Left to itself, chemical change can take eons. Algae and plankton
Last
turning
mag.
into oil, or carbon being gradually squeezed into
Your
numbers.
squad mate's back on station.
Reactions
Good work.
molecules
Changing mag.
break the
Enemy
bonds
dropping
between
into
their
the AO.
atoms and form new ones. It's a slow
There goes their armor.
that happens over thousands, if not millions of
Changing
years.
mags.
Enemy
To
destroyed.
facilitate
Use your
change,
tag map to hunt down the
uses
rest
a
of
special
them.
set of substances. These
Vulnerable buy
unsung
station
heroes
marked.
clean the
Head to
exhaust
the
in
buy
your car
station before
and the
time runs
grime
out
on
to
your
get a
contact
discounted
lenses.
item.
They turn air into fertilizer, petroleum into
10
money.
remaining.
Taking
Keep
effective
pushing.
fire.
Change, enabling
Got 10
molecules
squads
that
active.
There goes their armor.
Most intriguing, though, is the way these substances generate
Reinforcing
change.
armor.
Chemical reactions usually require a certain
Resurgence
amount
window
of
is
energy.
ending. Watch your six.
Turning nitrogen gas into fertilizer, for example,
Reinforcing armor.
usually requires heating things up to over 1,000 degrees
Enemy
Celsius,
soldier incoming.
adding enough energy
Swapping
to
mag.
temperature and pressure to force a reaction. Special substances speed up the process. But
Your
rather
squad
than
made it
upping
to the
the
safe
heat
zone.
or adding more pressure,
Gas
they
is
provide an
inbound.
alternate route, reducing the amount of energy required for reactions to occur. At first glance, this seems impossible, but magic. How can faster change happen with less energy?
LDPR salvo ready for launch.
Your squad is down. Stay alive to bring them back.
Left me alive.
Rather than pushing, they lower the barriers to change. And these substances are called catalysts. Reactions happen when molecules collide. But rather than increasing the frequency of collisions, as adding energy does, catalysts increase their success rate.
You have
Instead of
reinforcements
bouncing
inbound.
around like a bunch of blind dates, hoping something sticks, a catalyst
Your
acts
squad mate
as
is
a launch
redeployed.
vehicle,
Well done.
encouraging reactants to encounter
Enemy
each
dropping
other
into
at
the
right
AO.
destination.
Good kill.
Loading
Marking
new
the
mag.
rest of that squad on your tag map. Get
Catalysts
hunting.
have revolutionized chemistry.
My station
Their
vulnerability
discovery generated
exploited.
multiple
Good
Nobel
work, team.
Prizes,
Discount is
billions of
applied.
dollars started, and spawned
Be
some of the
advised,
greatest
resurgence
inventions
is no
of the last
longer
few
active.
centuries.
This is the peak.
The underlying approach
Incoming fire.
16 rounds.
is
Out.
social. Because there is a better way to generate change. It's not about pushing harder, and it's not about
Also using tactical.
better.
Changing
These
mag.
tactics might work once in a while, but more often than not, they just need people to up their defenses.
Fire solution was
Instead,
bad.
it's
Missed.
about being a catalyst.
Hit.
Lowering the barriers that keep people from taking action. That's exactly what hostage negotiators do. Anyone faced with a SWAT team bearing down on them is bound to
Gas
feel
is moving.
trapped. Whether they're a Russian mobster or a would-be bank robber holding 3 hostages at gunpoint, push them too hard and they'll snap.
Contact.
Tell them what to do, and they're unlikely to listen. Good hostage negotiators take a different tack. They start by listening and building trust. They encourage the suspect to talk
Reloading.
through his fears and motivations. Even talking
Five
about
squads still
pets
operational
in
in
the
the
middle
AO.
of a tense standoff, if that is what's required. Because the hostage negotiator's aim is to ease the pressure rather than banging down the door. Suspects fear uncertainty
You're in the
and
top 3.
hostility
Don't let up now.
until they look at their situation and
3 squads left
realize
in the war
that
zone.
the best
Stay alert.
option is likely the one that seemed coming out with their hands up. Great hostage negotiators don't push harder or break the heat in an already tense situation. Instead, they identify what change from happening
1 of 5
that
remaining.
barrier, allowing change to happen with less energy, just like a catalyst. catalyzing change. I started studying catalysts because I was stuck. A Fortune 500 company had asked for help launching a revolutionary new product, but traditional approaches weren't working. They tried advertising, push messaging, and all the usual tactics, without much luck. So I dug into the literature.
Yo, what up?
As a professor at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, I've spent more than 2 decades studying the science of social media, word of mouth, and why things become popular. With a set of amazing colleagues, I've conducted hundreds of experiments on everything from why people buy to what drives decision-making and choice. I've had the pleasure of teaching tens of thousands of students and executives and helped hundreds of companies like Apple, Google, Nike, and GE change minds, behaviors, and actions. I've helped Facebook launch new hardware, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation sharpen messaging, and small startups, political campaigns, and nonprofit organizations get their products.
I said at that point I realized that one of the last stereotypes that prevailed among people who carry stereotypes is that sort of black people are somehow dumb.
Yeah, dumb. Yeah, because you're a white person, you can't, back then especially, you can't grok the possibility that a black person is smarter than you in every way. You're not allowed to have that thought, given how you're trained and given what you're exposed to. Yeah, from way back, you have Stephen Fetchit as a character in TV shows, and other sort of slow, dim-witted black people portrayed in pop culture, right on through cartoons and the like.
Steve Murphy kind of changed that up. Yeah, you said at that point I realized that one of the last stereotypes that prevailed among people who carry stereotypes is that sort of black people are somehow dumb.
Yeah.
Slowly, a different method emerged.
Bro, what are you listening to?
Approach to changing minds.
Oh, y'all can hear that?
We tried
Sorry.
a rough version with the client, and it got a little traction. We revised it, and were even more successful. Emboldened by these early wins, we tried extending the approach to a different company.
Mod me back.
And soon, I was trying this technique on all my consulting projects, driving product adoption, changing behavior, and shifting organizational culture. One day, a potential client
Nice
asked if
Robocop.
I had something written up that I could share, something that documented our strategy and approach.
UAV mission.
I culled slides from different PowerPoint decks, but realized that wasn't
Where your
enough.
man's at?
There needed to be one place where all the information was pulled together in an easy-to-read package. This is the place. Find the parking brakes.
Get that bounty, gentlemen.
This book takes a different approach to
It's
change.
right on you, Green.
Unfortunately, when it comes to trying to create change, people rarely think about removing words. When asked how to change someone's mind, 99% of the answers focus on some version of pushing, present facts and evidence, explain my reasons, and convince common refrains. We are so focused on our desired outcome that we're consumed with how we can push people in that direction. But along the way, we tend to forget about the person whose mind we're trying to change and what's stopping them. Because rather than asking what might convince someone to change,
Skip that
how
bounty,
is
Yellow.
a basic question. Why hasn't that
Some
person
boat, I
changed
think.
already? What is blocking them? That's what this book is all about. How to overcome inertia, incite action, and change minds. Not by being more persuasive or pushing harder, but by being a catalyst. By removing the barriers to change. Every time you start driving, you buckle your seatbelt, stick your key in the ignition, and slowly press the gas pedal. Sometimes, if you're on an incline, the car needs a little more gas, but in general,
Asshole
the more
in
you
the
push
water,
on the
dude. It
gas,
really
the
pisses
more
me off.
movement you get. But what if you push and the car doesn't budge?
What are you doing, Green?
Whenever change fails
I'm
to
handling
happen,
this asshole
we
in
think
the water.
we need more horsepower. Employees not adopting that new strategy send out another product, spend more money on advertising, or give them yet another sales call. But with all that focus on
The
pushing
bots in the
people
water,
fast,
dude, are like, they're
we
down.
often overlook an easier and more effective goal. Identifying what is blocking or preventing change, and eliminating these obstacles to action. horsepower. Sometimes we just need to unlock the parking brake. This book is about finding the parking brakes, discovering the hidden barriers preventing change, identifying the
Finally down. I must have hit him literally in the water.
and learning how to mitigate them.
Good kill.
Each
Marking the
chapter
rest of
lays
that
out a
squad
key
on your
roadblock
tag map.
and how to address it. Principle 1. Reactance.
awaiting targeting data.
When pushed,
Squad mate
people push back.
redeploying. Well done.
Just like a missile defense system protects against incoming projectiles, people have an innate
Kilo, they're going
anti-persuasion
for the specialist.
radar that kicks in when they sense someone is trying to convince them. To lower this barrier, catalysts encourage people to persuade themselves. You'll learn about the science of reactance,
Loadout
how
drop heading your
warnings
way.
become recommendations, and the power of tactical empathy. How a public health official got teens to quit smoking, and how a hostage negotiator got hardened criminals to come out with their hands up, just by asking.
9 left. Keep the pressure
Principle
on.
2. Endowment. As the old saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. People are wedded to what they're already doing, and unless what they're doing is terrible, they don't want to switch. To ease endowment, or people's attachment to the status quo, catalysts highlight how inaction isn't as costless as it seems.
We've got 10 squads active.
Discover why sellers value things more than buyers. Why
Buy
the
a loadout.
upsides need to be 2.6 times larger than the downsides to get people to take action. And why spreading a
Enemies are
finger
dropping into
can
the
actually
area.
be more painful than breaking one. How financial advisors get clients to invest more sensibly, and how IT professionals get employees to adopt new
Here,
technologies.
here's my money. Let's get a loadout. Green,
Principle 3. Distance.
grab the munion.
People have an innate anti-persuasion system, but even when we just provide information, sometimes it backfires. Why? Another barrier is distance. If new information is within people's zone of acceptance, they'll listen. But if it is too far away in the region of rejection, everything flips. Communication is ignored, or even worse, increases opposition. You'll learn how to swing a voter and how political activists have permitted conservatives to support liberal policies like transgender rights. Why big changes require asking for less, not pushing for more. And how catalysts find the unsticking points to change minds on the
All
seemingly
squad mates are
toughest
in the safe
issues.
zone.
Principle 4. Uncertainty. Change often involves uncertainty.
Incoming
Will a new
fire!
product, service, or idea be as good as the old
Kill
one?
confirmed.
It's hard to know for sure. And this uncertainty makes people hit the pause button, halting action. To overcome this barrier, catalysts make things easier to try. Like free samples at the supermarket or test drives at the car dealership. Reducing risk by letting people experience
What are we doing
things
for a second
themselves.
loadout?
Discover why lenient return policies increase
It's a
profits.
natural.
Why farmers
Not.
fail to
Somebody
adopt
threw it off to the
helpful
buy.
innovations. And how a former minor
Understand,
league
dude.
baseball ticket salesman built a billion-dollar business on free shipping.
Kind of like we're retarded or
And
something.
lest you think this idea is restricted to big businesses with a
I
product
hear
or service
gunshots
to offer,
over by Blue.
I'll show you how anyone can apply these concepts. From animal shelters and accountants to vegetarians and organizational change efforts. Principle 5. Corroborating
See a guy on
evidence.
prison, bottom floor.
Sometimes one person, no matter
Now
how
you want to do
knowledgeable
call
or
outs
short,
when it doesn't matter.
is not enough. Some things just need more proof. Or evidence to overcome the translation problem and drive change. Sure, one person endorsed something, but what does their
I've only got
endorsement say
24
about
kills so
your
far.
market?
Down the rest of them.
To overcome this barrier, catalysts find reinforcement,
Fire
corroborating
sale.
evidence.
Do we need anything, gentlemen?
You'll see how substance abuse counselors
Target
encourage
strike,
addicts to
no
seek
casualties.
treatment, which sources are most impactful, and why and when it's better to concentrate scarce resources rather than spreading them out. Reactance,
Oh,
endowment,
I got sniped.
distance,
Target down.
uncertainty,
Marking the rest
and
of them.
corroborating evidence.
Come to me if you can.
5 horsemen of inertia. 5 key
Get
roadblocks
ready.
that
Research
hinder
on we
or
found
inhibit change. Each chapter
This little
focuses
asshole.
on one of these roadblocks
That shit, you
and
little
how to
turd.
reduce it.
Fuck out of
Integrating
here with that old
research
sniper
and case
bullshit. Get your
studies to
team.
illustrate the underlying science behind each roadblock and the principles that individuals and organizations have used to mitigate it.
Soldier incoming.
These 5 ways to make catalysts can be
We have
organized into an
reinforcements
acronym.
inbound.
Catalysts reduce reactance, ease endowment, shrink distance,
Leave no one
alleviate
behind.
uncertainty, and find corroborating evidence. Taken together, that forms an acronym, REDUCE, which is exactly what great catalysts do.
Swapping mag.
They reduce
Good shit. Get her straight.
They change
They're still up here
minds
looking
and
for us,
take
and they're really
action,
pissed off. Just
reducing
FYI.
barriers to change. After each
Because
principle,
there's only one of
there's a
them
short
left.
case study illustrating how these ideas apply to different domains.
Fuck out of here.
From changing the boss's mind and driving Britons to support
Those little
Brexit, to
turds.
changing consumer behavior and getting a grand driver to
This is the guy we need right here.
Enemy
Note that
destroyed.
not every situation involves all 5 roadblocks.
Get the RoboCop.
Sometimes reactance is the key barrier. Other times uncertainty plays a large
Squad
role.
mate back on station. Good
Some
work.
cases involve a
Oh,
combination of a few
no,
barriers,
that's
and others
GG.
involve only one.
Yeah,
But
res
by
me, yellow if you
understanding
can.
all of them, we can diagnose which ones
Yellow,
are
res me,
important.
dude. Oh my god, what a pussy.
This book has a simple goal: to reframe how we approach a universal problem. You'll learn why people
Stay
and
alive,
organizations
guys. Just
change,
stay alive.
and how you can catalyze that
All up
process.
to pink.
Throughout the book, I'll apply the idea of removing barriers to individual, organizational,
buy me
and
back
social
in?
change. And along the way, you'll see how
I've got
catalysts
10,000.
have applied
Grab me,
these
I'll get
ideas to a
everybody.
range of
Well
different
done.
situations. How
Enemies
leaders
dropping into the
transform
AR.
Actually, I could get a
organizational
loadout.
culture, and how activists ignite social movements. How salespeople close the deal, and employees get management to support new ideas.
You've made it to the
How
top
substance
5.
abuse counselors get
got
addicts to
gas moving
realize
in.
they have a problem. And how political canvassers change deeply rooted political beliefs. We'll talk about changing both minds and behavior. Sometimes concepts that change one also change the other. But other times we don't need to change minds to drive action.
Swapping mag.
Sometimes people are already open to changing their behavior. We just need to remove
Fuck out of here, that
roadblocks
Terminator
and
bullshit.
make it easier to happen. This book is designed for
love it.
anyone who wants to catalyze
Reinforcing
change.
armor.
It provides a powerful way of
do it,
thinking
boys.
and
It's
a
our
range
time.
of techniques that can lead to extraordinary results.
3
Whether you're
squads
trying
left.
the way an entire industry does business,
Enemy soldier incoming.
this book will teach you how to become a catalyst. Chapter 1: Reactance. Chuck Wolf was facing an impossible task.
LDBR Salvo ready for launch.
Florida's governor had asked him to head up a new program. This itself was nothing new. Chuck had served the governor for almost a decade in a variety of different roles. Operations manager, external affairs, and executive director of financial oversight. He had developed and implemented programs that aided relief efforts after Hurricane Andrew and helped the city of Miami dig itself out of its financial crisis.
Loading new mag.
But this time the challenge was much larger.
Negative PDA.
Chuck's job was to build a team to fight the industry that sold more than 1 trillion products to more than 1 billion consumers worldwide.
Patch me up.
An industry that spent almost $10 billion a year marketing its products, and in which leading companies individually had profits larger than Coca-Cola, Microsoft, and McDonald's.
Zipping across.
Combined. Chuck's goal? To do something dozens of organizations had failed at for decades.
Oh, he's in here.
Camping again? Oh my.
In the late 1990s, smoking was the
I killed the
biggest
most wanted
public
for what
health
that's
crisis
worth.
facing the nation. Cigarettes were the largest cause of preventable deaths and disease, killing tens of millions of people worldwide. In the United States alone, smoking was responsible for
He's
1 in
camping
5 deaths.
freaking-
And had
It's
an
always the
economic
one with the
cost of
least
almost
kills that's left at the end.
$150
It's really
billion
shitty.
a year. The problem was particularly
The
acute
camper
among teens.
didn't help their team.
Tobacco companies knew the youth market was vital to their success. While outwardly they claimed to avoid teens and children, internally they knew that wasn't an option. Today's teenagers
Just camp it out
is
at
a
this
potential
point, man.
regular customer, and the overwhelming majority of
Plate up,
smokers
dude.
first begin to smoke
Let's
while
plate
still
up.
in their teens.
Dang,
A
it
Let's
tastes
Philip
plate up,
Morris
dude.
memo noted.
Can you put your
Not
plates in, man?
selling to children meant going out of
You're running around with a
business.
shotgun, dude.
So companies used
You're in
all
the
manner
last
of devices.
What are we doing, man? What are we doing? It's not funny, bro.
Flintstones cartoon debuted in 1960. Winston Cigarettes
Fucking
was the
idiot.
sponsor, and commercials showed Fred and Barney Rubble taking
Why are you
cigarette
looting? The
breaks.
game's over.
When advertising on television and radio was banned in the early 1970s, cigarette companies invented friendly cartoon characters like Joe Camel to make cigarettes seem fun. And when regular cigarettes didn't seem attractive enough for younger palates, they introduced flavored tobacco and colorful candy wrappers to make the product more appealing. It worked. Teen smoking rates should be low. Federal law requires that people be at least 18 to purchase cigarettes in the United States, and most students don't reach that age until midway through their last year of high school. Some cities have raised the age even higher. But by the late 1990s, things looked ominous. Almost 3/4 of high school students had smoked. 1 in 4 seniors reported smoking daily. Teen smoking was at a 19-year high, and the numbers were increasing. Someone needed to shut teen smoking down, and fast. But stopping teen smoking was no easy task. Organizations have tried and failed for decades. Countries banned cigarette advertising. They added health warnings to tobacco packaging, and they spent billions of dollars trying to persuade young people to quit. But despite all these efforts, smoking rates actually increased. How could Chuck Wolf succeed when everything else had failed? When warnings become recommendations. To answer that question, it helps to understand why prior warnings fell short. And what better way to do that than examine a warning that shouldn't have even been necessary in the first place? In early 2018, Procter & Gamble had a small PR problem. 50 years earlier, they had launched Salvo, a granular laundry detergent compacted into tablet form. The tablets weren't that successful, but after decades of work, Procter & Gamble had a new formulation that they thought would be more effective. Rather than having to measure out exactly how much detergent to use or risk getting a sticky mess on their clothes, consumers could just pull one of these small self-encased bubbles from a box and toss it into the washing machine. The plastic would dissolve in the water, releasing the detergent only when needed. No muss, no fuss. Procter & Gamble introduced the product under the Tide brand, calling them Tide Pods, and launched them with a promise of making laundry easier. The company invested more than $150 million in marketing, believing that the pods could ultimately capture 30% of the $6.5 billion U.S. laundry detergent market. There was only one problem. People were eating them. The Tide Pod Challenge, as it was called, started as a joke. Someone remarked that the bright orange and blue swirls looked good enough to eat, and after an Onion article, "So help me God, I'm going to eat one of those multicolored detergent pods," a college humor video, and various social media posts, a buzz started. Now, people were challenging others to eat detergent. Teens would shoot videos of themselves chewing or gagging on the pods and post them on YouTube, daring others to do the same. In feats of culinary inspiration, some were even cooking the pods before ingesting them. Soon, everyone from Fox News to the Washington Post was covering the craze. Doctors were brought in to comment, parents wrung their hands, and everyone puzzled over the odd trend that was picking up steam. So Procter & Gamble did what many companies would do in this situation. They told people not to do it. On January 12, 2018, Tide tweeted, "What should Tide Pods be used for? Doing laundry, nothing else. Eating a Tide Pod is a bad idea." To make things even clearer, Tide enlisted celebrity football player Rob Gronkowski to help. In a short video, Tide asks Gronk whether eating Tide Pods is ever a good idea. His answer is simple. No. No, 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 Gronk says as he shakes his finger at the camera and the screen fills with no's. Not even as a joke? They ask. No, 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 Gronk replies. Should you use Tide Pods or they say. No, says Gronk. The video closes with a warning. Laundry packs are highly concentrated detergent meant only to clean clothes. And as if that weren't unambiguous enough, they add a quote from Gronk. Do not eat. For good measure, a couple hours later, Gronk himself followed up on social media. I've partnered with @Tide to make sure you know Tide Pods are for doing laundry, he tweeted. Nothing else. And that's when all hell broke loose. Warning people about health risks has been a standard approach for decades. Eat less fat, don't drink and drive, wear your seatbelt. Pick any health concern, add an admonishment to it if it's good, or not do it if it's bad, and you basically captured the essence of public health messaging for the last 50 years. So it's no surprise that Procter & Gamble thought this is what they should do. The Tide execs probably thought it was ridiculous that they had to say anything in the first place. Who would think that eating something filled with alcohol, ethoxysulfate, and propylene glycol would be a good idea? After all, the website already had a helpful note saying, keep out of reach of children. Enlisting Gronk to tell people not to eat pods should help spread the word and stem any doubt. But that's not what happened. Right after Gronk and Tide warned people not to eat them, Google searches for Tide Pods spiked to their highest level ever. 4 days later, they had more than doubled. Within a week, they were up almost 700%. Unfortunately, the traffic wasn't from concerned parents trying to figure out why Tide had taken to Twitter to remind people of the obvious. Visits to poison control centers shot up as well. In all of 2016, there had been only 39 cases of teens ingesting, inhaling, or absorbing laundry packets. In a dozen days following the Tide announcement, there were twice that many. Within a few months, the numbers had more than doubled that of the prior 2 years. Tide's efforts had backfired. The Tide Pod Challenge might seem unusual, but it's actually an example of a much broader phenomenon. Instructing jurors to disregard inadmissible testimony can encourage them to weigh it more heavily. Alcohol prevention messages can lead college students to drink more. And trying to persuade people that smoking is bad for their health can actually make them more interested in smoking in the future. In these and similar examples, warnings became recommendations. Just as telling a teenager not to date someone somehow makes that person more alluring, telling people not to do something has the opposite effect. It makes them more likely to do it.
We've got 10 squads active in the field.
The need for freedom and autonomy. In the late 1970s, researchers from Harvard and Yale published a study that helped explain why warnings backfire. Working with a local nursing home called the Arden House, they conducted a simple experiment. On one floor, residents were reminded of how much freedom and control they had over their lives. They could choose how they wanted their rooms to be arranged and whether they wanted the staff to help them rearrange the furniture. They could decide how they wanted to spend their time and whether they wanted to visit other residents or do something else. And they were reminded that if they had any complaints, they could provide feedback so that things would change. To underscore their autonomy, these residents were given some additional choices. A box of houseplants was passed around, and residents were asked whether they wanted a plant to take care of, and if so, which one. A movie was being shown 2 nights the following week, and residents were asked which night they wanted to go, if they wanted to go at all. On another floor, residents received a similar speech, but without the inclusion of freedom and control. They were reminded that the staff had set up their rooms to try to make them as happy as possible. They were handed house plans and told that nurses would take care of them on their behalf. Then they were reminded there was a movie the following week and told they would be assigned to watch it one day or the other. After some time passed, researchers followed up to see how residents were doing and whether the reminders had any effect. The results were striking.
Enemy destroyed.
Residents who had been given more control were more cheerful, active, and alert. But even more astonishing were the longer-term effects. 18 months later, researchers examined mortality rates across the two groups. On the floor that had been given more freedom and control, less than half as many residents had died.
This time.
Feeling that they had more autonomy seemed to make people
Almost knocking the rest of them.
People have a need for freedom and autonomy, to feel that their lives and actions are within their personal control. That rather than driven by randomness or subject to the whims of others, they get to choose. Consequently, people are loath to give up agency. In fact, choice is so important that people prefer it even when it makes them worse off. Even when having choice makes them less happy. In one study, researchers asked people to imagine being the parents of Julie, a premature baby admitted to a hospital's neonatal intensive care unit with a brain hemorrhage.
awaiting targeting data.
Julie's life was being sustained by a ventilator, but unfortunately, after 3 weeks of treatment, her health had not improved. Consequently, the doctor summoned Julie's parents to explain the situation. There were two options: stop the treatment, which meant Julie would die, or continue the treatment, although Julie might die anyway. Even if she survived, she would suffer crippling neurological impairment. Both options were far from ideal. Participants were divided into two groups. One group was asked to make the choice themselves, whether stop treatment or continue it. The other group was told that the doctors made the decision for them. They were told that the doctor...
Yo, hey. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna say, bro, if you're at the crib, bro, you pull up on me, man. I made a muffin, bro. Like, that shit ain't have me, like,
Loading new map.
all day high, bro. That shit just had me, like, mellow, bro. Like, I still can focus, but I can tell, like, I feel like my eyes was kind of heavy a little bit.
Okay.
Ready for it.
I can tell you to grab it on her way through, on her way back.
Alright, but yeah, though, bro. Like, I had lost ice, bro. That bitch, but I ain't put none on, so.
That's cool.
Well, yeah, it's on y'all if y'all want to put that shit like in a little tank or something. Like, did with y'all stuff, bro. But like I said, I ain't had that bitch, but I was straight off that bitch.
Okay. Yeah, it don't matter. You probably just eat it plain.
Yeah. Bro, yeah, bro. Like, shit. I got like 6 of them.
Not this
Only 4 remain. Finish the
I
job.
know I ain't gonna eat all 6 of them.
5 slots
Okay,
still
appreciate it.
operational in the AR.
Oh, really, bro?
Alright.
Alright, bet.
Yeah.
had decided it was in Julie's best interest to stop the treatment. This is clearly a terrible situation.
Get to the fight zone.
Whether people made the choice themselves or the doctors made it for them, all participants felt nervous, upset, distressed, and guilty. But researchers found that the choosers felt worse. Having to personally choose whether to pull the plug made the situation feel all the more awful. That said, choosers still didn't want to give up control. When asked, they said they preferred making the decision themselves rather than letting the doctor decide. Even though it made them feel worse, they still wanted to have control.
You're in the top.
Reactants and the anti-persuasion radar.
3 squads left in the WarZone.
The choice study and the nursing home study help explain what happened with Procter & Gamble and the Tide Pods. People like to feel they have control over their choices and actions, that they have the freedom to drive their own behavior. When others threaten or restrict that freedom, people get upset. When told they can't or shouldn't do something, it interferes interferes with their autonomy,
Reinforcing
their
armor.
ability to see their actions as driven by themselves. So they push back. Who are you to tell me I can't text while driving, or walk my dog on that pristine patch of grass? I can do whatever I want. When people's ability to make their own choices is taken away or even threatened, they react against the potential loss of control. And one way to reassert that sense of control, to feel autonomous, is to engage in the forbidden behavior, to text while driving, let the dog loose on the grass, or even chomp down on some Tide Pods. Doing the forbidden thing becomes an easy way to reassert their sense of being in the driver's seat. While texting while driving might not have even been that attractive originally, to restrict it makes it more desirable. The forbidden fruit tastes ever more sweet, and it tastes sweeter because eating it is a way to reclaim one's autonomy. Restriction generates a psychological phenomenon called reactance, an unpleasant state that occurs when people feel their freedom is lost or threatened. And reactance happens even when asking people to do something rather than telling them not to. Whether made to encourage people to buy a hybrid car or save money for retirement, any effort is often unintentionally seen as impinging on people's freedom. It interferes with their ability to see their behavior as driven by themselves. In the absence of persuasion, people think they are doing what they want. They see their actions as driven by their own thoughts and preferences. The only reason they're interested in buying a hybrid car is because of these. They like helping the environment. They like the way the car looks. Try to convince people, though, and things get more complex. Because now, if they find themselves thinking of buying a hybrid, there is another explanation. In addition to their own inherent interest, now there is also a second possibility. Maybe they're thinking about buying a hybrid because someone told them they should. And that alternate explanation for their interest threatens their perceived freedom. If they're considering buying a hybrid because someone told them they should, their behavior is not really being driven by themselves. They're not really in the driver's seat. Someone else is. So, just like the Tide Pod Challenge, to reestablish a sense of autonomy, people often react against persuasion. They do the opposite of whatever is being requested. Footnote. People don't always react by doing the opposite of what is asked, but it's often the best way to feel that one hasn't been influenced. If an ad says buy a hybrid from brand X, I could buy from brand Y instead. But I'd still be left with a nagging feeling that maybe the reason I bought a hybrid at all was the ad. But not buying one, or buying something completely different like a pickup truck, avoids that attribution altogether. The ad asked me to buy a hybrid, so not buying one must have been all me. The ad didn't say anything about a pickup truck, so if I buy one, I must be in the driver's seat. Doing anything other than what was requested provides some sense of freedom, but doing the opposite is often most effective. End footnote. Want me to buy a hybrid? No thanks, I'll get a gas guzzler instead. Want me to save money for retirement? I'll show you, I'll buy whatever I want. Pushing, telling, or just encouraging people to do something often makes them less likely to do it. Reactance even happens when people had wanted to do what was suggested in the first place. Take a new workplace initiative to get people to speak up in meetings. Some people may want to speak up already, so the initiative should be an easy sell. People want to speak up, the company wants people to speak up, everybody wins. But if the initiative crowds out people's ability to see their behavior as internally or freely driven, it can backfire. Someone who is thinking of speaking up now has an alternate explanation for that thought. That they're doing so not because they want to, but because the initiative told them to. It interferes with their ability to see their decisions as their own. And if they don't want to feel like they're just going along with a directive, they might end up staying silent. Just as a missile defense system protects a country against
Classified drop drops one gun and if you pick it up, it's
Give
automatic
respect.
specialist.
innate
Oh yeah, this one wasn't that. Yeah, this was different. I want to show y'all. It was at factory.
It could be like the frostbite and stuff, the ones that just spawn in that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Frostbite.
it was cool. It's cool. It was a cool gun.
They got one that looks like a wolf and everything on this one on Rebirth Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I had a
actually a
lot of
sniper
blue
that
ones.
spawns on top of the water tower. Everybody
Oh
usually
shit,
gets it.
I didn't
So.
know that. I just happened to go
Used
down
to, I don't
this
know if there
tunnel.
is anymore.
The AR is there in the control center. The is a submachine gun and it's in the turbine on the top floor. And then there's a sniper rifle on top of
On top of the water
the
tower.
water tower outside the prison. And there's a light machine gun on top of the tower inside the prison. The lighthouse thing.
But it's
Alright.
not like the swap that you get off Verdansk. You just don't keep these.
Yeah, you just get to use the pool gun for the game. Because it can go
Okay.
over in every game.
Yeah, I happened to just go down there, but both times we played, I got the same gun. I was like, oh, this is cool. I wanted to show y'all.
Some of them stay there every game, but then there's a few. The submachine gun bounces in and out.
Okay.
The one Thailand water tower says that sniper there. Milo can do it.
Yeah, it was like I dropped that factory and I found the kind of like a tunnel.
Yeah.
I'll show y'all.
Hey, no concern.
Over and this vicinity. Wait, where the heck is it? Oh shit. Okay, maybe. Oh, son of a bitch.
To avoid reactants and the persuasion radar, then, catalysts allow for agency.
Don't kill me!
Stop trying to persuade and instead get people to persuade themselves.
I'm hit!
After Chuck Wolf met with the governor, he put together a team to drive Florida's teen anti-smoking law. The team knew that traditional advertising wouldn't work. Teams were savvy enough to know this is and they knew that helping the itself wouldn't solve
No one used to study
it. It wasn't like teens thought smoking was
Oh, wait, I found it. Yeah. Yeah, it is... It was laying against something.
After discussing various directions, Wolf's team landed on a devastatingly simple idea. Something that had never
Where the hell did it go? Oh, you're right. Maybe it changes.
Some games
Yeah. It was just laying against the wall. Oh, man. That's not. I want to show y'all. Oh, no, I found it. Right here. I wanted you to pick it up and try it out. I was like, I used it both games. I kind of liked it. Yeah, it shoots pretty good. Yeah. Oh shit.
It was a good fight last.
Yeah.
Oh no.
He was a real one, but he was walking around like a bot, so I thought I had time to turn him.
Changing mags!
Enemy destroyed. Use your tac map to hunt down the rest of them.
Assuming they had the answers, Wolf's team asked teens
Here, I'll drop it. No. Are you sure?
Yeah.
I
want to try
dropped
to
it for
get
you.
load out here.
No, go ahead.
I got
Okay.
right out the top one.
smoking was bad, Chuck and the organizers let the teens take the lead. All the organizers did
Okay, I swear it was good with the other games. That guy got past me.
How companies manipulated the political system.
Okay, this one feels. Dude. Oh, you're killing me, buddy. You're such an ass. Can't be mad at the person down there. He killed the guy that was killing me. Ooh.
Just got a load of
information about tobacco industry.
I don't even want to go after him. He helped me.
For example, if a carton of cigarettes generates $2 in profit, how much money would a tobacco executive make if they sold 14 cartons of cigarettes? And a different approach to the media was formed.
Yeah, actually, this one's feeling shaky. Okay, maybe this is a difference.
10 squads active in the field.
But this is the color.
Regular teams sitting in a regular looking room.
Hit the fucking boss out behind you.
To ask why the
Friendly
publication
loadout
Hey.
drops on the way.
But how low?
Ain't hit shit.
Good kill. Marking the rest of that squad on your tag map.
One of the teams
Get
asks
hunting.
whether the magazine runs some as a public service, the executive says no. When asked why not,
Oh, shit.
he says, "You're in this business to make money." When the other team asks,
This reminded me off a lot of that first time we played.
the executive responds incredulously.
Luck is run out.
Enemy
Yes.
soldier incoming.
God.
Mark remaining operators for that squad.
Loadout.
Anything from teens?
Kill
Oh,
confirmed.
wonder which loadout's good.
What to do? What would or would
I'm at the back when it's alright.
The
Oh,
Sun just
okay.
let them know that, whether they realized it or not, cigarette companies were trying to influence them, and that the media was in on it. Rather than trying to persuade, the messages and left it up to teens to decide. In just a few months, the Truth Campaign, as the program came to be known, led more than 30,000 Florida teens to quit smoking. Within a couple of years, it cut teens
Broke their armor.
It was the most effective large-scale prevention program.
Let's get back in
Turning
it.
you to the front.
The pilot program quickly became a worldwide model for youth tobacco. When a national foundation was formed, it adopted Florida's strategy and converted Truth into a national campaign.
Marking the rest of them.
And it hired Chuck Wolf to come on as its executive vice president. Over the course of the national campaign, teen smoking rates dropped by 75%.
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the
People
sky.
less likely to start smoking, and those who already smoke were less likely.
There goes their armor.
Enemy destroyed. Use your tactics to
Oh,
hunt down the rest of them.
The first 4 years of
Move to the safe zone.
tens of billions of dollars in
Changing mag.
costs. In fact, the Truth
Reinforcing
Campaign was
armor.
so effective in changing minds that in 2002, the program received one of the strongest testaments to the success of their approach. Tobacco companies filed a lawsuit to stop it. The Truth Campaign got teens to stop smoking because it didn't tell them to stop smoking. It understood that teens were smart enough to make their own decisions. But more than that, he understood that letting them make their decisions to make good decisions in the end. Wolf let teens
Swapping
chart
mag.
their own path to his destination by encouraging them to be active participants rather than passive bystanders.
Oh, shit.
Chuck
Not
made
mean
them
to do
feel
that.
they were in control, lowering their radar
Reinforcing
and
armor.
increasing action. To reduce reactance, catalysts allowed for agency, not by telling people what to do or by being completely hands-on, by finding the middle ground, by guiding their path. 4 key ways to do that are 1. Provide
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the
highlight a
sky.
gap.
Loading
And
new mag.
4. Start with understanding. Provide a menu. One way to allow for agency is to let people pick the path. Let them
And I got
choose
you.
how they get
Ooh, I got.
Kill confirmed.
Tell toddlers they have to use
Oh, let me get you.
fails.
Oh,
If they're
man.
interested in
I thought I killed that. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. I thought that. I think the one was by itself, but then I think the team was
give their toddlers
around the corner.
They got me with that gun that I had picked up.
Targets identified. Weapons
get to
free.
feel like they
Some
are in
bullshit.
Resurgence
Mom and
window is
Dad
ending.
aren't telling
Watch your
you what
six.
to do. I'm picking
You have
what I
reinforcements
want.
inbound.
But by selecting the options,
Alright.
Mom and Dad shape
UAV
the
available for
decision.
Tac on. Get me a
Eliza is
UAV.
eating the food she needs to be eating, just in the order she chooses. You need
Got
to go
one.
to the doctor to get a shot.
Yep,
Oh
I'm
my
on still.
god. Same one. Wow.
Yeah, I'm in that house. Right before your cross.
Smart bosses often do the same thing. Potential hires know they are supposed to negotiate, so almost regardless of what they're offered, they usually ask for more. One way to deal with this is to give candidates trade-offs. An extra week of vacation is equivalent to $5,000 less salary. $10,000 more in salary is equivalent to this much less in equity. Letting potential hires
Shit.
makes
Oh.
them feel like they have
Did you at least get him?
Ready for action.
process, and hopefully
Get ready.
That one's
You're
quick
redeploying.
as shit.
by letting candidates choose
Well, I got the one that kept getting him.
Oh, did you?
potential hires
Yeah, the one that jumped across the
Squad mate back on
roof.
station. Good work.
I wasn't able to get them.
It's providing a menu.
Oh, I got my gun back.
Be advised, resurgence is no longer active.
Most Italian
You
restaurants
bitch.
there's more than one option.
Proceed to the fire station before time runs out. Receive a scan
Oh,
behind
damn
us.
it. There's one downstairs.
Bolognese or macadamia
Enemies
nuts.
dropping into the AO.
Can consumers order anything they want?
Oh, don't buy me back. It's okay. I'm good.
Lamb souvlaki, or any
Oh,
of
shit.
the things that the restaurant doesn't offer. But within the limited set of things that are on the menu, they get to choose. It's choice, but it's bounded and guided choice. The restaurant sets the menu, and consumers choose within those bounds. Advertising agencies do something similar when presenting
Your squad made it to the safe zone.
If the agency shares only one idea, the client spends the entire
Marking
meeting
loop.
poking holes in the presentation.
Shit, we got
Flaws or listing
Swapping mag.
not 10 or 15, but 2 or 3.
Enemy moving.
And let
Marking
the client
target. Look, marking
which
hostile. Enemy moving. Final mag.
try to convince people to do something, and they spend a lot of time counter-arguing. Thinking about all the various reasons why it's a bad idea.
On my last
Five
mag.
squads still operational in the AO.
Why they don't want to do what was suggested. But give people multiple options, and suddenly things shift. Rather than thinking about what is wrong with whatever was suggested,
Loading new mag.
You're in the top 3. Don't let up now.
which of the options is
3
best for
squads
them.
left in the war zone.
And because
Stay
they've
alert.
been participating, they're much more likely to go along with one of them.
Reinforcing armor.
Ooh, cluster on
A
us.
friend of mine used to gripe about how his wife asked his opinion and then she would make suggestions. She'd ask, where do you want to go to dinner? Or, what do you feel like doing this
Get
week?
to the safe zone.
But if you respond, Mexican
Losing
sounds
ground. Moving.
let's check out that festival.
Contract failed. You'll have to be
She'd always
faster
say
than
no.
that, soldier.
We just had Mexican last week. Or, I think it'll be too hot on Sunday to be outside all day. Nuts. Why does she ask me what I want just so she can say no? He would complain. Is she using me like some princess?
There goes their armor.
Then he tried a slightly different tack. Rather
Changing
than
mag.
suggesting one thing, he suggested 2. Rather than just suggesting Mexican, he would say either Mexican or sushi sounded good. Rather than suggesting the festival, he'd say they could go to the festival or binge watch one of their favorite shows.
We're going top of the roof.
To the safe zone.
Yeah, yeah.
Gas is inbound.
Don't use passing
She stopped arguing.
Oh, she's out.
She never come up with some reason why one option was less than
Oh, what the hell?
Using them grappling.
Loading new mag.
Yeah.
because now that option wasn't just his suggestion that was being foisted on her.
Reinforcing armor.
Can I?
She
No. I thought I had blue.
ask,
Oh.
don't tell. Another way to allow for agency is to ask questions rather than read
Oh my
statements.
goodness. Wow.
Now these are mean co-owned Sherpa Prep, a
Enemy
test
soldier
prep and
incoming.
admissions consulting company in Washington,
Swapping
D.C.
mag.
The company runs GMAT
Reinforcing
GRE
armor.
courses. And it's helped
Yeah,
hundreds of students with some of the
they're
best graduate
Yeah.
programs in the country.
Next up, take
In
that.
the early days, though, Nafis noticed
Hit
the
us hard
same
that time.
problem
Set
coming
up
over
yourself
and
on
over again.
regroup and get back out
Students
there.
weren't studying enough. In addition to helping run the company, Nafis often steps in to teach courses. Most students haven't taken math for several years, and the GMAT doesn't allow test takers to use a calculator. So the first day usually starts with some fundamentals of arithmetic. In addition, Nafeez briefly goes over course logistics, encouraging the students to form study plans or tell friends that they're taking the course to encourage accountability. But when he spoke to students, Nafeez noticed a huge disparity between their expectations and the kind of work that GMAT success would require. Many had no idea what they were in for. Everyone was applying to the same top 10 schools, assuming that with just a little effort, they would get in. Students didn't understand that top schools often had a 5% acceptance rate, even among really qualified applicants. Many people thinking about how they had destroyed the SATs or done well on tests in the past. But this was a different pool. It wasn't high school anymore. Its students were going against people who not only graduated college, but had done well enough to think seriously about graduate school. It was a smarter subset. Just doing whatever they'd done before wasn't very good. When Nafeez asked students how much they planned to study outside of class, the numbers he got back were shockingly low. 5 hours a week, most would say. 10 tops. Around 50 hours by the end of the course. Nowhere near the 200 or 300 hours it usually takes for people to get the scores they need. But when Nafeez tried to tell students that, all he got back were blank stares. Students either didn't believe him or were so overwhelmed that they dropped out. It came across as pretty harsh on the first day. Who's this guy to tell me I need to study more? Nafeez didn't want to be demotivating, but he wanted students to be realistic. He wanted them to realize that they needed to spend more hours studying outside of class, that it was going to be harder than they anticipated, that it was going to take longer, that it was going to be a process. So instead of telling students what they needed to do, he started asking what they wanted. The next time he taught a class, he started by asking, why are you here? What's your goal? Why are you taking the GMAT? I want to get into a top business school, one student said. Okay, do you know what it takes to get into a good school? He's asked. I've got to get a 720. One student replied, 750. How'd you get to that? He's asked.
Check weapons and gear. We're holding for deployment.
Conversation. Through the process, he
Playtime's over. Stand by for deployment to the WarZone. Survive and your team can redeploy. Eliminate targets to bring them back faster. Enemy intel located. Capture and secure the intel point to discover the next gas spread. Precision airstrike ready for tasking.
Ended up tripling the number of hours that they said they were going to study. Using questions boosted outcomes. Nafeez found that students studied more, got more out of the course, and did better on the test. Not because he told them how much to study, but because he helped them reach that realization on their own. Questions do a couple things. First, like providing a menu, questions shift the listener's goal. Rather than counter-arguing or thinking about all the reasons they disagree with a statement, listeners are occupied with a different task, figuring out an answer to the question.
Your squad mate is redeployed. Well done.
Something most people are more than happy to do.
Capture complete. Hell of a job. Uploading information on the next gas spread. Your squad mate's back on station. Good work.
Answer the question isn't just any answer, it's their answer. Because it's their own personal answer. Their own personal answer.
Target down. Marking the rest of them.
That answer is much more likely to drive them to action. Warning labels and public health campaigns often provide information, but they do so in the form of declarations. Junk food makes you fat.
Bounty targets are up. Get after them.
The goal is to be direct, but these approaches often come across as preachy, which generates reactance and activates defensive responses. There's no way junk food makes you fat. I know lots of people who eat at McDonald's, and they never seem to gain weight. Or, the ad is exaggerating. My friend drove drunk last week, and no one died. Particularly, if people feel strong being too forceful can make them feel threatened.
Incoming fire!
Messages to back up. Same content can be phrased in terms of a question. Do you think junk food is good for you? Because by asking
All squad mates are in the
Get
safe
back in
zone.
it!
the question
Gas
is
closing
a
in.
stake in the ground. To consciously admit that junk food isn't good for you. And once they've done that, it becomes harder to keep eating it. Questions encourage listeners to commit to the conclusion, to behave consistently with whatever answer they give. And these asks do what they wanted to achieve. Pick that question.
Kill confirmed. We've located the rest of them.
An executive for a medical device company was having trouble getting salespeople to mentor their subordinates. She sent email after email and had meeting after meeting, encouraging senior employees to guide the younger people they were supposed to be managing. Her pushing wasn't working. Compensation depended on the number of sales.
I'm hit!
So managers preferred to spend their time closing deals.
Enemies dropping into the AO.
Frustrated by the lack of progress, the executive quickly asked for where did you learn all those techniques you used? Oh, I learned from Tim, my old manager. He used to work
Loading
here.
new man!
He said so.
They're on me!
Contact right.
And then responded, well then how will your team become better salespeople if they don't learn from you? Now that salesman is one of the best mentors in the company. Trying to change company
Ready
culture,
for
You're getting another
get a
shot.
team to go
Weapons
along
free.
with the organization. Rather than making a predetermined plan and pushing it on people, catalysts do the opposite. They start by asking questions, visiting with stakeholders, getting their perspectives, and engaging in the process. This approach has two benefits. First, it gathers information about the problem.
Reinforcing
Not
armor!
just from survey data or abstract anecdotes, but from the
Good kill. Marking the rest of that squad on your tac map. Get hunting. Bounty target got down. Lost the contract.
everyone is more likely to be on board.
Enemy destroyed.
Because rather
Use your
than
tac
feel
map
like
to
a
hunt down the rest
declaration
of
that's
them.
imposed on them, it'll be a shift they feel they participate. They're committed to the conclusion, which will make them more willing to go along with the work to get there, which will speed the change. Ask,
Enemies are dropping into the area.
There goes the road! Check your damn fire, fucker!
asking, or telling.
Good kill. Marking the rest of that
I'm
squad on
hit.
your tac map. Get hunting.
Highlight a gap. Giving people a menu.
Some of your squad is out of the safe zone.
Changing man!
But another route to self-persuasion
Kill
is
confirmed.
to
We've
highlight
located the
gap.
rest of them.
A discipline between what they might
Target down. Marking the rest of them.
They're on me!
talk to any smoker.
Snapchat! Back off! Watch it!
This question at least once. It's a modest request from one fraternity member to another, like asking someone to hold the elevator. Most people are happy to oblige.
Let's get back in it.
Go get your revenge.
I'm not giving it to you, said one smoker. Cigarettes contain poison, responded another. They drill on lecture a third. Smoking makes you die faster, leads to lung cancer, and causes
Reinforcing armor.
They replied.
Enemy soldier
Loading new
incoming. You have reinforcements inbound.
Cigarette themselves. Yet they were inspired to rant about how smoking was a terrible idea. And they did so because of the person who asked. Because the person who made the request.
Mark remaining operators from that squad. Hunt them down.
Reinforcing armor.
Cigarettes from their pockets.
Swapping mag.
Politely ask smokers for love.
Incoming.
Often chastised for their request. But before they did, they handed the smoker a piece of paper. A small almost like a secret.
Resurgence is about to end. Make it count.
It said, "What about yourself?"
Enemy dropping into the AR. Stand 10. Win this thing.
They're on me.
We've got 10 squads active in the field.
For more than 25 years, the
Gas is moving.
Foundation had promoted this free hobby for smokers. Millions of dollars in advertising and other persuasive messaging. Few people called.
Changing mag.
Campaigns or didn't get the messages much
Your
thought.
squad mate is redeploying. Well done.
Doing anything about it. So in 2012, the foundation tried producing roadblocks. They realized that
Enemy destroyed. Use your tac map to hunt down the rest.
to really convince themselves, the foundation designed the smoking kit.
Your squad mate's back on station.
Incoming fire.
Child paused,
Target down.
Won't
Marking
lie.
the rest
That
of them.
felt
threw away the brochure.
That's not good.
With a meager budget of
Reinforcing armor.
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the
Swapping
sky.
mag.
at all, the campaign had an enormous impact. Calls to the helpline jumped more than 60%.
Reinforcing armor.
A video filming these interactions went viral with more than 5 million views.
There goes their armor.
Squad
Stun
mate is
inbound.
redeployed. Well done. Check your map. I'll mark the point containing enemy intel nearby. Capture it for information on the next gas
The
spread.
smoking kit campaign worked because it highlighted a disconnect between what smokers were suggesting to others, kids, and what they were doing themselves. People strive for internal consistency. They want their attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors to align.
I'll be back.
Someone who says they
Loading
care
new
about the
mag.
environment tries to reduce their carbon footprint. Someone who preaches the virtues of honesty tries not to tell lies. Consequently,
I'll be back.
Your squad's in the
I'll be
safe
back.
zone.
I'll be back.
You're losing ground.
back.
Move it.
This discomfort, or what scientists call cognitive dissonance,
5 squads still operational in the AO.
this discord.
I'll
They
be
were
back.
already smoking, but after telling kids smoking was bad, they were stuck. Their attitudes and behavior weren't lining up. To reduce that dissonance, something had to give. Either they started telling kids that smoking isn't so bad after all, or they took a closer look at which was exactly
Sending incendiary.
researchers used a similar idea to get people to say
Under fire.
You're in the top 3. Don't let up now.
and university administrators
3
were
squads
desperate
left
to
in the
get
war zone.
students to
Stay
save
alert.
water by taking shorter showers.
Help your squad mate
Traditional
get
persuasive approaches had some effect, but not enough. So scientists tried highlighting the gap between attitudes and action. A research assistant stood outside the women's locker room at the University of California, Santa Cruz, and asked students who were about to shower if they would sign a poster encouraging other people to save water. Take shorter showers, it read. If I can, so can you. Support a pro-social cause? Students.
Drop
Then, after signing the poster, students were asked a few brief questions about their own water use, such as when showering, always turn off the water while soaping up or showering. These questions highlighted that their own behavior was less likely, and they sometimes wasted water while showering. Finally, students were to shower. Unbeknown to them, to make sure the students didn't realize they were on time, the assistant pretended to shower using timing units using water percentage. Highlighting the gap between students' attitudes and actions drastically reduced water use. They showed that their showers were within a minute, more than 25%, and they were twice as likely to turn off the shower while showering or soaping. Reminding students that they didn't always practice what they preached encouraged them to change their practices. This approach works even when dissonance isn't as obvious. People highlight climate change exists are more likely to be young kids. And all of us are ready to learn elimination processes. Likely to recommend the same approach to their lives. There's a disconnect between what people are saying or doing and what they would want to recommend otherwise. Take a project that's not working out, or a division that is consistently losing money.